Hi there, this is Izzy and this is Hairy, and welcome to this Maxillaria tenuifolia care collab. I'm doing this care collab today with Orchids 365, Karen's Orchids, Hillbilly Orchids, Mama's Orchids, DD Blooms, Danielle's Orchid Ranch, Julie's Orchids and Ninja Orchids, and thank you so much to Nina at Ninja Orchids for organising this one. Hairy is my Maxillaria tenuifolia, and I think the name and the reason for it is fairly obvious. And of all of my orchids, Hairy is genuinely the largest. I've had Hairy now for 4 years, nearly. And Hairy did come as a pretty large specimen plant. I got Hairy from an orchid nursery in southern France, and ever since it's been the pride and joy of my collection. But recently I've noticed some changes that we'll have a look at. Maxillaria tenuifolias are from Mexico and they are called the coconut orchid, and that's because of their beautifully scented flowers which have a wonderful coconutty scent. Being from Mexico, Hairy loves human temperatures and fairly standard indoor conditions, but Hairy would like a day-night drop in temperatures more than I give them, because I must admit, Hairy doesn't flower. Now this is partly because of the particular variant that Hairy is of Maxillaria tenuifolia. Hairy is very vegetative, and I knew that when I got him. You can also get Maxillaria tenuifolias that have much larger pseudobulbs and are much more likely to flower and give you large flowers. I think these are the 4N varieties, so they're, double chromosomal count. And so Hairy's just more like a wild type. But this means that I haven't had the pleasure of Hairy's flowers in all this time. And then the main thing that Maxillaria tenuifolias love is water. And you can imagine that Maxillarias in particular are a water-loving species, but one with such long leaves as this does need quite a bit of water as well. And you can see with mine there's some evidence in the past of where I have been less good at keeping up with the water requirements of Hairy. So you can see here a burnt leaf tip. Now this happens when there's a little bit of salt and food build-up in the tips of the growing leaves, and so they die because they're furthest from the water source at the base. And we also have a little bit of accordion leafage there, which is when the leaves are growing and they can't grow out fully flat because they need a little bit more water in the growing season. And this is what the leaf should be like. There shouldn't really be any issues with the leaf itself. It should just be green all the way along. Well, here's a good specimen there. So you can easily tell when your Maxillaria needs more water, they have issues with the leaves, or the pseudobulbs start to be less plump. And this is where I want to show you some of the things that are starting to happen with Hairy that might mean drastic action is needed sometime soon. So this is a bit more of a close-up of Hairy, although still not that close. And you can see that the base pseudobulbs are large, and as we go up the rhizome, they get smaller and smaller. Now this is as they travel further and further from the water source. But this is a little bit troubling to me. If I am honest, I think Hairy might have outgrown its time as a specimen in the current form. And one day I'll have to make the very difficult decision to mow Hairy down and start again. Now this is fairly easy, because Maxillaria tenuifolias have this very curious growth habit where the rhizome of growth is vertical and each individual pseudobulb comes off this rhizome, and what you can do is literally just snip off the bulbs all down the rhizome, pop them in some damp sphagnum moss, wait till the roots grow and arrange them so that you have a beautiful new plant. I just need to build up the courage to do that one day with my Hairy. You'll also notice that There appear to be, occasionally, some roots sticking out from these sheaths. Now this is normal for a Maxillaria, but it's unusual for other orchids. The Maxillarias send their roots down these leaf sheaths and then into the growing medium. Mine is potted in a mixture of sphagnum moss, small bark and small perlite. I think, if I'm fully honest, sphagnum moss is probably the way to go with something this size, so that you fulfill the water requirements of this plant, because it is thirsty. Whilst I was doing that little turnabout there, I did notice a set of pseudo bulbs that really needs to be potted separately from this plant. And the ones I spotted first were this set here, which are getting increasingly small as we go up, but actually there's a couple around here. These are some of the reasons why I think Hairy just needs to be repotted sometime. But what I'm going to do, oh gosh, yeah, Hairy definitely needs a repot. I can just pull that out. Oh dear, oh dear. Okay, I'm going to remove any of the ones that look quite shriveled like this and leave the rhizomes that look quite plump on Hairy. Well, that's an improvement for now. And what I have snipped away are these pseudo bulbs. I've snipped them away because they are looking quite wrinkled at the top and some of them very thin and dehydrated, which means they're not accessing water in their current form. Some of them are cut off from the substrate. So I will take these, snip them up further and pop them up to form a new specimen plant. As for Hairy, I think the amount of time that Hairy will stay as a single specimen is limited. I won't be doing the dirty deed today, but it might be quite soon, judging by what I've seen from looking through Hairy's mass of foliage just now. That's it from me. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you create content, do consider joining us in the Care Collabs. We'd love to have you, just get in touch. If you like this video, give it a like. If you'd like to hear more, just subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.